everyone's got their own thing. You know, I just happen to like the Lambrettas. I just think they're more classier. But you know, and that's what I had in the 60s as well. So again, it's a nostalgia thing, isn't it? You know.
This bike, 1967, SX200.
We're actually doing Margate again in, I think, the end of July. We're doing a run to Margate, exactly the same thing, and it's mods and a rockers from the Ace Cap. So great fun, you know. It's just don't get no grief nowadays. You know?
Fantastic bike, all the Italian style, classic. Got it insured now for 4,500, and it's just going up all the time.
Well, I had one originally when I was 16, which is like back in '66. And I'd done it for a few years, and then done a few rallies and whatever, and then I got out of it again, like you do, when we went into minis and all that, done the scene and all that. And it wasn't until a few years ago, I sold an old Cadillac I had, and just thought I must buy myself another Lambretta. And I bought the Lambretta, and I had it 2 days, and I met Big Ady here, who lived in the same town as me, and just said to him, I bought this scooter, and knew nothing about it because they've totally changed since when I had them. Come round and have a look, and he come round and had a look, didn't you? And we've been mates ever since. And we just, you know, like I say, his bike, he lives in France now, his bike stays at my house and comes over and we do it. It's worked out well. We stripped it all down, rebuilt it again, and it's been good fun, isn't it? You know?
A lot of people bring the kids now, there's a lot of people with kids on the scene. But it's just a family thing, really.
This is my third time, this one, yeah. Excellent, one of the best of the year, I think. But, you know, compared, we went to the Isle of Man a few weeks back, and like, there's just no facilities, no nothing. Look what we're staying in. You know, that's what's good about it, isn't it? You know? And, yeah, I love it. I think it's excellent. You know, I know people moan about these family rallies, but they're by far the best because, you know, we're older, we've got families. You know, I mean, my wife will be down later on with the kids and they go swimming and whatever and see the bands, and my daughter's all into Northern Soul, so they'll be looking at it all tonight, and that's good, isn't it? The whole spectrum. Going right the way through, and that's great. I like that.
Mrs. has come down in the car because we've got a couple of kids with us. I've come down, I brought the lad on the back. And his first time he's ever been this distance on a rally, he loves it.
You know, you look around you, you've got a lot of twist and goes and whatever. All right, they're not the same as Lambrettas, they're not, but the kids can't afford to, you know, I mean, Ady's bike, there's only a few in the country. My bike, you know, you're talking upwards of 5, 6, 7 grand. They can't afford that. There's only us older ones that can afford it. So they've got to start. So, you know, you've got to start somewhere. So the twist and go is the easiest way to go. Especially with the licensing now. When we had our licenses, it was dead easy. Now they've got half a dozen tests for they ride, haven't they? So, you know, no, I think it's good.
It's a passion, it's hard to explain. You know, the people involved are so nice, so fantastic. You'll never have that camaraderie anywhere. You'll never have people stopping when you broke down like they do if you're on a scooter. Or at the bar buying you a pint, bump into them. It's not a case of, you know, have a go. It's shake your hand, your best of mates. Brilliant, really good people. Oh, really good chicken.
I'm Mark Berry from Aylesbury Scooter Club, up near Milton Keynes. I've been into scooters from, well, like a lot of people, from being a mod in the sort of late 70s, early 80s. And just been into it ever since, really. Rallies, do's, whatever is available. I mean, for me, the main thing is the ride out, so I like to get out on scooters. I mean, the music and everything's great, but that's just music, but the scooters is the main thing for me. So never miss the ride outs, because that's when the buzz is, that's when the adrenaline starts going, when you're riding in a crowd of scooters. Doesn't matter whether you're going fast or slow, it's just having all those scooters either side and looking in the mirror and looking behind you and looking up the front, seeing a crowd of helmets bobbing along the road in front of you. And watching all the people as well. That's today coming along the road, when you get along the seafront and all these people coming out of shops and looking out of windows. We're all posers, I know, but it's just great to see all those and little kids waving and beeping at weddings and things like that. So that's just great fun. That's part of the fun of the scene for me, I think. What I ride at the moment, the scooter I've got at the moment is I've got a Vespa PX200, one of the new ones. I've always had Vespas, never had Lambrettas, although I've got lots of friends that have Lambrettas, but it's always been Vespas for me. Yeah, this is my first time down at Camber. I've done all sorts of rallies. I used to live up in the north, so rallies like Scarborough and Morecambe and so on were the ones that I'd go on all the time, but I now live South Midlands in the south, and this is the first time I've been to a Camber rally, yeah. I don't think there's much difference between the rallies because people travel all over. So, you know, you'll be up at a rally in the northwest or wherever, and you see the same people that you would see at the Isle of Wight or somewhere like Canberra. People travel. I mean, that's one of the great things about it, is that you meet up with people that you've known for years, and you see people, and it doesn't matter where you are, it's the same faces. Although you're going to get people who don't, you know, drive that far and just go to local rallies, but no, I think they're just they're good fun. They tend to follow the same pattern, but you know, that's why we go, really. The scene's changed. Well, the most obvious thing about the change of the scene is the average age. You know, looking back at press cuttings and so on, and seeing the interviews in newspapers with people back in the early 80s, and seeing that they were all 16, 17, 18, and now it's all 36, 37, 38. But I think it's lost some of the aggro. It's lost a lot of that, with perhaps some of the idealism of youth. A lot of that's gone, and people are much more, they're serious about their scooters and they're serious about having a good time, but the whole politics and aggro and all of that's gone, and now there's not the same grief. You can talk to anybody, it doesn't matter where you're from, who you are, what your political leanings are. People just, you know, that's all put aside, and you just have a good time and get to know people and talk about scooters and music. So it's changed. It's a much friendlier scene now. It's a much less cliquey scene, I think. Much more fun, I think. There's always going to be a little bit. There's always going to be a little bit of yeah, a little bit of ribbing, a little bit of gyps. Yeah, of course there's always going to be some clubs that won't have anything to do with other clubs, just like you get with football clubs. It's kind of, some people don't like people from one place, but you rarely see anything serious like that. I mean, I can't think of any club, you know, in the last few years, any major club spats. There's always going to be the odd little bit of argument when somebody said something to somebody, or there's been a misunderstanding. But yeah, and there'll always be a bit of fun between sort of northerners and southerners and so on. There's always a bit of ribbing and a bit of, you know, joking, but nothing serious. That, I mean, I've certainly not witnessed anything in the past few years. I have been to Brighton on scooter. It's something that you've got to do, really. I know it's funny, but it's just one of those little pilgrimages you've got to make. In fact, we just got a new chap who's just joined our club in Aylesbury, who had Lambrettas in the 1960s, and had to take his third scooter back because he couldn't pay the HP, and for the first time since the 60s he's just bought a Vespa, and he turned up at the club meet last night in his Parker with graffiti written actually in Brighton in 1964 on the back. So whether you're a mod or a skinhead or nothing like most of us these days, we're a kind of, you know, whatever we are, Brighton and that scene still has the romanticism. So yeah, because of riding a scooter, I ride my scooter every day. It's cheap, it's easy to park. I don't commute into big cities. I actually live out in the country, and it's fantastic around country lanes. And it's cheap to run, and it's fun too. And I suppose in some ways it's like having a sports car. Having a daily transport that's fun is an added bonus, and I just love riding it. And the conversations that I get into with people about them, the strangest of people will just come up and say something about, you know, I had one of those in the 60s, or whatever it is, or what's that. So it gets you noticed in a nice way. Sometimes it gets you noticed in a, you know, not so nice way, but not as much these days as it used to. But it is a cheap, fun, economical, you know, enjoyable way of getting about.
It's been an excellent weekend. It's probably one of the best weekends I've ever had, got to tell you.
Even when the bands are on up here, there's still loads of people dancing. Fantastic dancing competition by all accounts.
I'm sounding a bit rough at the moment. This is like second night on the trot, and yeah, I only usually, like, you know, go out like this on a rally, but absolutely brilliant.
The ride out yesterday afternoon went well because the weather was absolutely brilliant. Everybody enjoyed it.
Best time for me, I think, was like the Northern Soul nights, and another one tonight, which is going to be good. So I must get some sleep for that. But meeting everyone into the scooters and the scene again, it's just good. Catching up with all our old friends, you know, and seeing people who you didn't think were going to be here. You know, it's seeing people you haven't seen for a long time. It's great.
And generally, you know, the dealers market, the custom show, all went really well.
Yeah, it's time for reflections. I mean, we've got another night, which is good. And we'll head back tomorrow early sometime. We've got to book out about 10 o'clock in the morning, so we'll probably leave kind of early. We have a late one and leave early, I think. Should be good. But I'm staying off the drink tonight. Tonight it's just strictly mineral water, I think, and coffee.